Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phay, and welcome to the channel. You know, I can tell when people are being judgmental just by looking at them. Today, we're going to take a look at Star Wars Unlimited Shadows of the Galaxy 2-player starter set from Fantasy Flight Games. In Star Wars Unlimited Shadows of the Galaxy 2-player starter set, one person is going to play Moff Gideon, the other one's going to play the Mandalorian. And what you're going to do is you're going to be competing back and forth trying to destroy each other's base. The first person to destroy the other person's base is going to be the winner of the game. But how does it play? So I'll tell you what. Let's go down to the table. Let me explain how to play this game really fast, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. So to play the game, the first thing you have to do is set it up. Now, I'm not going to cover a lot of the how to play in this one. If you want to know more about that, go watch my video on the intro battle Hoth. I cover a little bit more of the how to play in that one. I'm going to cover a few extra things in this one here. Okay, but basically one person is going to take the Mandalorian, one person is going to take Moff Gideon. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your leader in the center of the table with his epic side ability up, okay, and his base above him, okay, both sides. And then what you can do is shuffle your deck really, really good. Once that's done, you're going to draw a hand of 6 cards. Choose 2 of those cards and put them face down. Now, before you do that, one of the things you can do is you can do a mulligan. All right. If you look at your hand and your hand has nothing but cards that are high value costs and resources, you may want to do this mulligan because you want some cards that cost 1 and 2 so you can get them out into play fast. If you mulligan, put them off to the side, draw 6 more cards, but this is your hand. Shuffle those mulligan cards back in and you're ready to go. Okay, now, once you have your 6 cards, like I said, take 2 cards, put them down as a resource. Those cards will be resources for the entirety of the game. You'll never get them back, so choose wisely. Okay, so what are you going to do? All right, now, there is the first player token. One of the 2 of you is going to have the first player token, okay, and whoever has the first player token is going to go first. On your turn, you can do one of a few things. You can play a card. Cards have a resource cost. It's in the upper left-hand corner, okay? Whatever that cost is, you exhaust, you turn sideways, your resources, that number of resources you have, and you play that card. Now, the cards are going to be one of 3 basic different types. It's going to be a space card that's going to go in the space area, and cards always come into play exhausted when they're played. It can be a ground force unit, okay, so it would go on the ground side and come in exhausted. Or it could be an upgrade card. It could be an upgrade to one of your units. And what you're going to do is you're just going to slide that card underneath that unit. It doesn't matter if the card's exhausted or not. You can always upgrade it. Or it can be an event. If it's an event, you just do what the card says and you're done. All right. You can attack with a unit. If you have a unit that's not exhausted, you can declare an attack on that. Now, space attacks space or the base. Ground attacks ground or the base. Okay, so you determine, do I want to attack this other unit that's out there from my opponent, or do I want to attack his base? Remember, the goal of this game is to get their base from 30 all the way down to 0. So if you attack their base, you're going to start getting it down. But if you leave their troops alone, their other units are on the board alone, they're going to build up and then they're going to come back after you. Okay, so choose wisely. So exhaust and attack. Now, when you attack, you're going to do damage. So the left-hand side in the middle of your card is going to show how much damage you do, and the right-hand side, the blue, is going to be how many hit points or how much damage you can absorb. Okay, so whether your opponent's card is exhausted or not, all right, if you attack the cards, it's like a ground attacks a ground or a space attacks a space, okay, whatever one you declare you're attacking, if that be the case, they're going to do damage to you as well. So you figure how much damage you do, put that much damage on that card, and whatever damage it does, put that much damage on your card. If you ever have damage tokens on it equal to or greater than whatever your health is, just remove it from the board, okay, and that's it. That's combat in a nutshell. Now, you can use an action ability. There are some cards that are going to have an action ability on them, which means you exhaust the card and you get to do that ability. Some also have a resource cost with them, which means you would exhaust the card, pay the resource, and then do its action ability. Okay. You can take the initiative. Taking the initiative means I want to be first player on the next turn. But once you do that, you are done for the turn. You cannot do anything else, period, end of story. That is it. You wait for your opponent to pass. or you can pass. Now, if you pass and your opponent takes a turn and does an action that comes back to you, you can at that point choose to take another action. Okay, it's not like the take the initiative, but if you pass and then your opponent passes, that's it. It's the round's over. Okay, and you're going to go to the next phase of the game. Okay, and whoever had the first player token is going to remain the first player again. So now what do you do in this phase right here? Okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to ready all of your ground cards, or all of your cards. Okay, anything that's been exhausted or anything else, you're going to ready all those. You're going to take you're going to draw 2 cards up into your hand, and then you're going to be able to take one of the cards from your hand, if you so choose, and put it down as a resource. Okay, and that way your resources are going to eventually build. And you're going to need that because you're going to have those higher cost cards in your hand. But you don't have to play that resource if you really don't want to. And then you start the next round, and that's it. Okay, so whoever has the first player token, they take their action, do whatever they're going to do, and it's going to go back and forth. Now, this is going to keep happening until one person can manage to get the other person's base down to 0 points. If you are the one to do that, you win. Star Wars Unlimited, Shadows of the Galaxy. Okay, folks, so that's a real high level how to play this game. There is a lot to this game, especially if you buy the booster packs and you start building your own deck and doing everything else, and really get into the deck construction, because there's a lot of things that you got to really pay attention to. But when you get these pre-generated decks like this, they're my favorite way to play because, one, I don't necessarily have the time or want to do the deck construction, but I like to play a lot of these games. I've done that with Magic the Gathering for the last many years. I was into it. I used to play it a ton. I got rid of most of my stuff, and then my son decided he wanted to play it. But he wanted to build decks, which is great. I helped him. I taught him how to do that. But I would just go buy the pre-generated decks, and I would just play against him with that, because that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to play the game. I didn't want to have to do the deck building. And I do that even with a lot of the LCGs and stuff that are out there, like Arkham and stuff. I just use the pre-generated decks and play them and have a lot of fun with it. Okay. But this game here, I want to go in a little bit more detail on what I think about this game compared to what I did in the Intro Battle Hoth. In Intro Battle Hoth, that was just a starter set, and it was good for what it was. It gave you the basic idea how the game plays. This is going to go into it just a little bit more, but then again, like I said, it's still pre-generated decks. But some more things that I really like about this one, okay? One of my favorite things about this game, though, is the resources. I like the fact that every turn you're putting a resource down. You're starting with 2, and then you're putting one down, you're putting one down, you're putting one down. So your resources are always growing. One of the things I always hated about Magic was the fact that I could sometimes get mana hosed, and I would draw cards and draw cards and draw cards and draw cards, and I would never get the resources that I needed, okay? And that always really bugged me. Now, some of the people that I played against, they just bought booster after booster after booster, so they had cards that were giving them resources, and they had all this other cool stuff that I didn't really have. Okay, or if your deck shuffles really, really weirdly, then you get a pile of resources towards the bottom and you just don't get them up front. In this game here, you're always putting a resource down. So when you have that intro mulligan, you're looking at your cards, and if you got a bunch of cards that are low cost, you're set up so at least you can get those out into play, and every turn you're going to be able to draw more. So if you have 2 or 3 resources out, and then you draw your 2 cards, and you find the ones that you buy are only 1 resource a piece, you may or may not want to put a resource down because, well, you can play these cards. And that's what I like about this game. You're not really getting resource hosed on this one, because you're always, every turn, going to get to put down at least 1 if you so choose. Okay. Now, I also really like the epic abilities of the leaders. I like the fact that you have your leader out there in play, and your leader is going to give you that epic ability that's going to say, when you meet this condition, boom, it's going to come out into play. And you want to try to get to that condition. Now, the second you get to that condition, you may not want to put your leader in play. You got to play smart, okay? Because once you get your leader into play, if your leader is killed, it's going to come back, but you're not going to be able to get him out there again, but you're going to get whatever the basic side of the leader is, okay? So you want to try to get that leader out there at the right time possible, okay? And that could that could really change and swing the game one way or another. I know I've played games of this where it wasn't looking good for me. I got my leader out at the right time, and all of a sudden now I started overwhelming my opponent, and I was able to climb out from being behind and end up winning the game. And that's one of the fun things I like about this. It's just like a lot of the other trading card games. You got to figure out how to play your cards smartly, so that way you can win in the end. Now, there's some really fun other deck building games out there. Star Wars, the deck building game, is a great game that kind of has that same mechanic, but it just does it a little bit different. And I enjoy that one as well, because that one you got the different bases that keep coming out, and I have a lot of fun. This one just plays a little bit different, okay? And it's very enjoyable. The other thing that I like about this is I like the fact that I know they put out all these booster packs, and I know they and everything else. You can do all this massive deck building, but they actually put out quite a few pre-generated decks as well, and that's something I really enjoy. That's really fun for me, because then I can just go, get one of those decks. I can play it against other decks, and they're usually, for the most part, fairly well balanced. Okay, you still have the luck of the cards coming out. How well do you play your resources and whatnot? So there's always that. In every one of these deck building games, you have, or trading card games and stuff like that, where you're doing the deck construction, you're gonna have that. You're shuffling your deck. How's it gonna come out? Even your deck building games, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and all those, you have that same thing. It's Arkham Horror, the card game, or whatever, Marvel Champions. All those games, if the decks don't come out the way you need them to come out, it's gonna kind of mess you up. So you have to play the best you can with the cards that you have, and knowing your deck and knowing how to play your deck is going to be the key. Okay. Now, I know this is a super popular game for tournaments and everything else. That's not the way that I'm ever going to play it. I'm not really big into the tournaments. I played stuff like this for fun. To me, these are great games to play where it's the beginning of a game night. A buddy of mine shows up. We're waiting a half hour for everybody else. I can pull this game out and I can play it really fast. It's great. I can take a couple of these pre-generated decks. I can put them in a small box. I can take them on a trip if I'm with somebody else, and we can just play a couple games. You know what? Maybe I play this deck against my opponent. He's going to play 2 or 3 different decks, and I put it out. And I grab a different one, and then maybe he plays that deck next time. You never really know. But we just keep bouncing between the different decks, and we have a lot of fun playing it. It's a good game. I enjoy this game. Okay, I don't enjoy the deck building aspect of it or the deck construction aspect of it, because that's not what I want to do. Okay, now there's a lot of you out there I know absolutely love that aspect of this game. I mean, you guys are standing in lines for hours trying to get these booster boxes when they're sold. So I know people absolutely love doing that, and I respect you for that, and more power. I've done so much deck constructing in games in the past: Magic: The Gathering, Jihad, Middle Earth, Star Trek. I mean, I can go on and on and on about the dozens of games that I played back in the 90s. Every time a new collectible game came out, I was buying it, I was learning it, I was playing it. And it just got to the point where I'm just, I just don't want to do that anymore, but that's me personally. But if you like deck construction games, if you like Star Wars, the artwork in this, like I said, it's fantastic. Very thematic. Everything seems to be, when I'm playing the Mandalorian, I feel like I'm playing the Mandalorian deck. Okay, I'm really into it. It's very thematic decks. But if you like deck construction games, I think you're absolutely going to love this game. To me, this is a very good game. I would actually rather play this over Magic: The Gathering, just because I love that resource aspect. I love the leader aspect of this one as well. Phenomenal game. Hey, if you've even been thinking about it, get one of these sets right here. They're not that much. Give it a try. I think you're really going to like this game. Well, thank you once again for joining me today. As always, I please ask you to like this video on YouTube, Board Game Geek, Facebook, or even on X. Please leave me a comment on any one of those platforms, and I'll get to those comments just as soon as I can. And also, folks, if you like the videos I do here, if you haven't done so already, I humbly ask you to click on that subscription button and even click on that bell and be notified when I drop new videos. And also, if you like the videos that I do here, I also post videos over on the Discriminating Gamers channel. Over there, we'll do some unboxing, some reviews, and some playthroughs. I'll leave a link down to Cody's channel in the details below. So, what if there were no hypothetical questions?